Hello, and welcome to our 2020 Veterans Day program here at Windsor High School. Today we will pay tribute to servicemen and women all over the world. I am Dr. Osunde. Currently, there are 1.3 million active duty personnel, both men and women, serving around the world. There are more than 19 million U.S. veterans. Here at Windsor High School, we are one of a few schools in the state of Connecticut that hold school on this day, and we present our program annually to recognize and honor our veterans, both those who are alive and those who are no longer with us. We do so to honor those who have served our country selflessly, as well as to help our students learn of the importance of their brave and individual sacrifices, as well as service during peacetime and war. While we cannot be together in the auditorium today, we have a virtual program which represents the best of Windsor High School. We begin with the presentation of the colors by our cadets of the Windsor High School Air Force JROTC, led by faculty member and Senior Master Sergeant, retired, of the United States Air Force, Michael Cross.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms, right face, cover, march.
Thank you, cadets and Sergeant Cross. Next, Music Department Leader Ms.Tracee White will lead the combined choirs in singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous tide o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
This morning, we are honored to hear from Dr. Terrell.Hill, Windsor Public Schools Interim Superintendent of Schools and former specialist in the U.S. Army.
Good morning, Windsor High School. I'm your interim superintendent, Dr. Terrell.Hill, and I have the honor and pleasure to greet you on Veterans Day. I'd like to say that this is one of the days that I enjoy celebrating the most out the year. I am a veteran of the United States Army. I served in the 1980s. I know that was long, long ago in West Germany. And every time I think about my time serving, I can do nothing but smile. I have nothing but fond memories of the incredible men and women that I had the opportunity to serve with in Germany. even every day putting on that uniform, the pride that we had, knowing that we were on the front lines, ready to protect our nation, protect our way of life, and do what we need to do for our fellow Americans. So I don't want you to take this day for granted. If you know a veteran in your family, if you have friends, whomever you know who has served or is serving still, I want you to give them a salute. You can send them a text message, you can have a Zoom call with them, a FaceTime call with them, but let them know that you appreciate what they're doing for you. Without our veterans, we would not be able to maintain our incredible way of life here in the United States of America. So to you all, happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. Our English Department faculty member, Ms. Susan Jackson, has coached 3 students in selected readings for today's occasion. Leah Lopez will read Spoken from the Hedgerows by Jorie.
Spoken from the Hedgerows by Jorie. To bring back a time and place, a feeling, as in we are all in this together, or the United States and her allies fought for freedom. To bring back the experience of killing and getting killed. There is no other human relationship like it. At its heart, comradeship is an ecstasy. You will die for one another. You will not consider it a personal loss. Private Kurt Gable, 513 Parachute Infantry Regiment. The 3 of us, Jake, Joe, and I, became an entity. An entity, never to be relinquished, never to be repeated. An entity is where a man literally insists on going hungry for another. A man insists on dying for another. Protect, bail out. No regard to consequence, a mystical concoction. A last piece of bread, and gladly, you must understand what is meant to be gladly. All armies throughout history have tried to create this bond among their men. Few succeeded as well as the Paratroop Infantry of the U.S. Army, Rifle Company E, 506th Fusile. It can't happen to me. It can happen to me. It is going to happen to me. Nothing can prevent it. Webster, to his parents, I am living on borrowed time. I do not think I shall live to the next jump. If I don't come back, try not to take it too hard. I wish I could persuade you to regard death as casually as we do here. In the heat of it, you expect it. You are expecting it. You are not surprised by anything anymore. Not surprised when your friend is machine gunned in the face. It's not like your life at home, where death is so unexpected. And to Mother, would you prefer for someone else's son to die in the mud?
Thank you, Leah. Jerren Langford will now read Facing It by Yusef Komunyakaa.
My name is Jerren Langford, and I will be reading Facing It by Yusef Komunyakaa. My black face fades, hiding inside the black granite. I said I wouldn't, damn it, no tears. I'm stone, I'm flesh. My cloud of reflection eyes me like a bird of prey. The profile of night. Slanted against the morning, I turn this way. The stone lets me go. I turn that way, I'm inside the Vietnam Veterans Memorial again, depending on the light to make a difference. I go down the 58,022 names, half expecting to find my own in letters like smoke. I touch the name Andrew Johnson. I see the booby trap's white flash, name shimmer on a woman's blouse. But when she walks away, the names stay on the wall. Brushstrokes flash, a red bird's wings cutting across my stare, the sky. A plane in the sky, a white vet's image floats closer to mine. Then his pale eyes look through mine. I'm a window. He lost his right arm inside the stone, in the black mirror. A woman's trying to erase names. No. She's brushing a boy's hair. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerren. And Tristan will read Battleground by Trowbridge.
Battleground by Trowbridge. It showed the war was as my father said, boredom flanked by terror. A matter of keeping low and not freezing. You kept your helmet square, he said, not at some stupid angle, like that draft dodger Wayne, who died so photogenically in the sands of Iwo Jima. Those nights I heard shouts from the dark of my parents' room. He was back down in his foxhole, barking orders, taking fire that followed him from France and Germany, then slipped into the house, where it hunkered in the rafters and thrived on ambush. We kept our helmets on, my mother and I, but there was no cover, and our helmets are always tilted. He'd lump us with the ones he called John Does, lazy, stupid, useless. We needed to straighten up and fly right, pick it up, chop chop, not get nervous in the service. We'd duck down like GIs where German snipers might be crouched. In haylofts, their breaths held for the clean shot. Bang, my father said. The dead went down, some like dying swans, some like puppets with their strings cut. I wanted to hear more, but he changed the subject. Talk about the pennant, the card shaky odds, how Musial was worth the whole John Doe lot of them.
Thank you, Tristan. Soloist Kaylee Cote will sing America the Beautiful. Windsor High School history teacher, Mr. Kevin Spear, comes from a family with deep military roots. His father, uncle, and cousin spoke at a roundtable about the military service in the Marines and the Army. Here, Mr. Spear will teach his military history, and his father, Marine Corps and Army National Guard Lieutenant Colonel Brian Spear, joined Army National Guard Sergeant First Class Christopher Spear, and Marine Corps Lance Corporal Jack Spear, and they share with us their experiences.
So, I just wanted to do a couple of things first before we kind of get started. And I think the first thing is to thank you all, right? Thank you so much for taking the time, out of your busy schedules to be here. Thanking you for sharing your experiences, with us, the Windsor High School community, and thank you for your service. It is greatly appreciated, and I'm very much proud to call you part of my family. Why did you choose to enter the service? Because that always gets a lot of differences, and I was just talking to Dad. The idea behind it is a lot of kids think it's just simply like, I'm going to serve my country and I'm going to, go out and, be like the person in Glory, right? Like charging up the hill and, saving people.
For me, I wanted to, thank you.
Go for it. Go.
I wanted to join to kind of serve just like what my father did, and then also to serve my country. And the culture shock of being told to get off the bus was something making me double think it when I first got to my company training area. Because what they said wasn't PG or PG-13.
Well, as I was telling you, Kevin, I went down and because someone, my older brother, told me never join the Marine Corps. And I went to see the Navy recruiter and he wasn't there. And there was this guy sitting in a really sharp looking uniform. I thought, man, that looks cool. And I thought, yeah, if my brother can do it, I can do it. Whew.
Famous last words.
Yeah. Yeah. And that that first night arriving at boot camp was a significant emotional experience, and there was no PG-13 in any of it.
Oh, try your best to explain that shock, that experience, that change in culture to the viewers. What was going through your mind, or what kept you in?
Once you got there, graduating boot camp was the fastest way to get off that island.
Yes. The people that had dropped out on, say, like day 0 or within the first week, they stayed until we graduated and then some. So they just had to stay with all our formations, march, but they stayed on the outside while we still did all the training. And so they were just sitting there waiting for the Army to process their discharge.
So what kind of obstacles did you guys face in boot camp and, you know, in this training, in your training experience?
Well, mental and physical, that's the design to test you physically, but also prepare you mentally to instantly do what you're asked for a very valid reason. As it turns out, combat is something where you don't question, you don't. So they're trying to turn you into the tool that they need to do their job. And you either became it or you didn't. There was no in between. You were either doing it or you weren't.
And as like in the Army, they always said, you know, they train you to be infantry first, and then as for me, I'm admin. That's when I go to my technical school, but they always train you to do the basics first. So that way, on my first deployment show, I was 21, and then I was riding on top of a Humvee as a 50 cal gunner going, this is not my, the normal. So.
Well, in the Marine Corps, everybody's starts out as a rifleman, just like Chris said. And when you get out of boot camp, you're really not. You're mentally and supposedly emotionally ready, but you're really not trained. So then there's a succession of training: Camp Lejeune, North Carolina; Pendleton, California; Okinawa, where you were given the skills by returning veterans, given the skill, and then sent to your overseas. In my case, it was Vietnam. You could go to Okinawa, you know, wherever on Fleet Marines. I just happened, since I was only in for 2 years, they weren't going to train me for 2 years and then say goodbye to me. So that's where I was going. So I went to Vietnam and served my tour there.
Yeah, mine was kind of a long, 24 years of varied service. And I've gotten schools and training, everything from, basic infantrymen. I fixed helicopters for a while, for several years. Then I went back and became an infantry again as an officer, and every 3 years they rotate you to a new job. You got to go learn something, which is part of the learning to be at the upper echelons, so you know pretty much the basics of what everybody below you are doing, and that in that period, it was just post-Vietnam. to 2001, you know, I got sent all over the world, and enjoyed a lot of it, didn't enjoy a lot of it. It's a dangerous business, and unfortunately you lose friends along the way, which is, you know, there's no difference in civilian life to military life. It's just a different cause, I suppose. I don't regret it. I was honored to do it. And now it's been 20 years since I've retired. A whole new life.
It's amazing how time goes by that fast. Holy moly. But you also spoke to about the distance, about, you know, being out there in the great big world. How did you stay in touch with family? Especially for these younger kids and all their internets and their interwebs.
Speaking for the old guys, we wrote letters.
What are those?
Yeah.
Longhand.
Actually, our mother actually saved them and passed them off to my wife one time before she passed, and I mostly wrote about money, which is kind of interesting, about what I made and where it should go and all that. And then when you got, if you ever got into the rear or were in a hospital or something, you could maybe make a phone call. So I was probably able to make 3 phone calls in the year, the 13 months that I was overseas. But you had to call collect, and so it was a spendy deal back in those days. But that's what it was, old-fashioned snail mail mostly. And then they'd send me packets of food, dehydrated beef stroganoff, moldy chocolate chip cookies, which we loved anyway. So it was all done the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, mail call was a very important time back then. Because that's, you know, I spent 6 months on an aircraft carrier, and there's no landlines, no cell phones, no nothing. So the mail came and went with the whatever helicopter was going to the closest country, and you hope you got something back.
I still remember when Dad went to say his captain's career course. He was gone for about 3-4 months, and then doing Kevin, I don't know if you remember this or not, but doing the nightly phone calls, you know, waiting by the phone for Dad to make the calls just to talk to him. Now more with the technology, because I've been away for either a week, a month, 2 months for some of the stateside ones. FaceTime is great. To be able to talk to my 2 sons now, even when it's just a week training and stuff, it helps with just boost morale, just to be able to see them, because they're distracted doing other things. So it's just to see them, it might distract them for a minute, and then especially with having a 2-year-old, poof, he's gone doing something else.
Yeah, when you were in Iraq the first time, we got a camera for the computer, and we were able to see you. The connection wasn't really good, but at least we were able to see you and talk to you, which was really, you know, such a wonderful thing, you know, because you were gone a year. You know, we didn't see you for a year.
So, you know, and obviously, Chris, you know, you're heading towards there. But for the older gentlemen, we have, you know, transitioned back to civilian life. You know, did the military help you as you found yourself back in civilian life? Did you use the GI Bill to help, you know, with your education in any sort of way? Was it like re-entering the civilian world, as it were?
No, the GI Bill definitely helped. I used every bit of it. I was rated with a disability when I left the service, like my brother, not quite for the same reasons, but and the VA, you know, helped me get a finish the bachelor's, finish the master's, so that I could get jobs that didn't require some tasks that aggravated the orthopedic problems that I had after falling off too many tanks and trucks and lines and things. So it was definitely a help post service.
I'm with saving after 2 deployments. And then they have now, it's called a post 9/11 GI Bill. So you're actually allowed to transfer your benefits to your dependents. So what I've done is I've split it between my 2 sons. So at least it will help them pay for 2 years of college each. And then while still serving, they have tuition assistance, both federal and state. And I'm trying to use that. And once we buy this house, also through the VA, I will then finish up my master's. I have about 7 classes left, I think. And I'll have my my master's. So that'll take about probably 2 more years. And I'm able to retire in 2026.
Is there anything as we kind of like wind down that you'd like to tell, the young people out there thinking about joining the military, or just for the young people, considering that idea?
Well, I would just say, whether you're deciding to join or want to join or don't want to join, to try to respect the people that did join, that are joining, who are serving. They're not a monolithic block of anything. There's 1,000 reasons why everybody goes in, 1,000 reasons why some stay, 1,000 reasons why some don't stay, and it's give them respect for doing something positive. And if you're mad at the politicians, well, figure that out in the voting booth. But the people who put on the uniform every day are people who are working hard, and that's all I would say.
Yeah, it certainly is not for everybody. There are many people and family members that I would have been horrified for had they gone into the service. But those that do,
you.
Yeah, well, that ship sailed. So
yeah,
these men and women that they've gone in and signed the blank check and said, I'm here, I'm going to do it. Whether they stay, whether they go, but they've still served. They've still protected everybody and the country for whatever reason. And as Jack said, get rid of the politicians if you don't like the law or the situation. But because I remember post-Vietnam when I went in, we were treated pretty badly, civilians. Jack knows. And after the Gulf War, I had to do a parade, and the public opinion, the public persona, just the gratitude that I witnessed towards the servicemen and women was just incredible. And that really is important. My 2 cents.
Yeah, because I have nephews that are almost of joining age, and I'm trying to just say, hey, go. Just it gives you something of, as like my Uncle Jack was saying, of education. I didn't dream when I first joined that I was going to have to be in a hazmat suit trying to do the hazmat technician training or equal opportunity or all these other 12+ schools I've been to. And I've helped out with when there's flooding in our state and fill sandbags for a week straight, and I could barely close my hands afterwards. I did that back in 2007, or there's other ones that have helped out right now with COVID, with either doing food deliveries to the local towns or just what have you. There's just 100 or thousands of different stories of what soldiers have done to help out the local communities.
So with that, I just wanted to thank you all once again for this amazing opportunity. You guys were wonderful. And, you know, again, thank you for taking that time and giving people just a little bit of a glimpse of what it means and what it's like to be in the military.
Thank you so much, veterans and members of the Spear family. Here to play the service themes, conducted by music teacher Rebecca Bernardo, are Sierra Sullivan playing The Army Goes Rolling Along. Performing the Marines Hymn. Cleo White playing Anchors Away. Leah performing the U.S. Air Force. Mason Goodman will be closing with the Coast Guard theme, Semper Paratus. Thank you, soloists. Before we conclude this program, I would like to take a moment to thank many people who participated in the production of this program. Those people are Ms. Nancy Curley-Kirk, Social Studies Department Chair, Ms. Rebecca Bernardo of the Music Department, Sergeant Michael Crofts of the Windsor High School Air Force JROTC program, Mr. Jeffrey Goodin of our Video Production Department in the CTE Department, Dr. Terrell.Hill, Interim Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Susan Jackson, member of the English Department, Mr. Gary Nolan, member of our Music Department, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Spear, Surgeon First Class Christopher Spear, Lance Corporal Jack Spear, Mr. Kevin Spear, and Ms.Tracee White. And of course, I can't forget about our talented Windsor High School students, Leah Carlson, Kaylee, Cote, Mason Glickman, Tristan Harrison, Elena Lang, Jerren Langford, Leah Lopez, Sierra Sullivan, and Cleo White. Thank you, servicemen and women, for your service, your bravery, everything you do for this amazing